memories don't fade. Sometimes you miss the old days, but nothing changed unless you change what's around you. How you think, how you live, how you speak, how you walk, how you blink, how you talk, how you teach, how you reach, let it sink. What's your purpose? What's your passion? You're the pain. What's your plan? Is it plane? On a plane? Hydroplane? I'm just playing. What's your purpose? What's your passion? Did it
with Molly and Joe, the mental warriors. I know I got a lot of mental warriors out there in social media, on all the streaming platforms. I missed you guys last week. I tuned in. It was pretty dope, man. That brother Nate Turner, I like him, man. We're gonna have to get him back on soon as we level up, as I'm hearing in production meetings and such. We're gonna level up soon. To different things, studio settings and all that other good stuff that good shows should have, just to show that we're important, that we feel we're important. We feel that we're doing something real nice, got something good going on. I'm Molly, the voice. That's my man Joe, Words by Joe. You already know he got plenty of words for you. Yes. He got some things for you. Of course, we're going to pay homage to the ancestors. That's coming up. Then we have one of our what's that current event topics, because we got to do with current events or what have you. Just got to stay in the now to know what's going on. But marijuana is legal in New York these days, so I never knew it wasn't, but that's a different story for a different day altogether. Black love and relationships. We got to talk about that. That's our topic of the day. After we, in our second half of the show, and we're going to talk about the George Floyd case. We're going to recap the show. Any questions and answers? If you want to call up the show, call in. There's something scrolling right at the bottom. 929-441-2417. All right. If you want to call in, ask a few questions. If you want to call in and state what you feel, say how you feel, That's 929-441-2417. Joe, how was your week, brother?
It was really good. We're in the middle of our spring recess, so I got the chance to rest up a little bit. Had to take care of a couple of personal things, but it was a really good week. It was really productive still, and had a chance to clear my mind and get myself together, paying a lot of attention to the whole George Floyd case and whatnot. So, that kind of determined how my week is going.
Right. I mean, the George. I mean, I didn't. I'll be honest with you guys. I haven't really watched much footage, because those are some of the things that those are trigger points to me when injustice. I don't want I don't want to be desensitized to the fact that it's happening sometimes. You know what I mean? I want to always feel that I don't want to look. You know what I'm saying? I think we stay stuck on looking sometimes, and I think it's important that we don't look all the time. You know what I mean? We don't have to look all the time. We know what happened. You know what I'm saying? I know that man rested his knee on that man's neck for now it's 9 minutes and some change. So they made it even worse for me. You know what I mean? And now I'm even more upset. Now I'm more obsessed. Now the video is even clearer.
Right. So, we're seeing a lot of things. They're showing a lot of things that wasn't necessarily showed to the public. So we're seeing it from the insider's point of view now, and that's where I think people are looking and saying, there's more to the story. Because
we're gonna save that. What's your Indiana Pacers looking like?
We suck. We should be making the playoffs, but we're not going to. So you know what? I'm looking forward to the Nets. I want to see what they're doing, because they're building a team like the Avengers right now. So
right. Well,
let's see what they look like.
The Knicks took a tough loss last night, man. A little 1-point loss, man. It hurt. I mean, I think we're still going to make the playoffs. I'm not sure how much noise we're going to make in the playoffs, but Tibbs doing some things over there. But as far as the Brooklyn Nets now, me being from Brooklyn, home, us, Brooklynites, we take pride in this Brooklyn thing. So, I'm gonna keep my eye on what they're doing. But like you said, man, they forming like the Avengers over there, man. They got every superhero you could think of.
That's right.
You know what I mean? From top to bottom. But I mean, it is what it is. I mean, they I mean, listen, LeBron. I blame LeBron James, but that's another story for another day.
Also, shout out to the beginning of baseball season too. Let's go Mets.
Oh well, I'm a Yankee fan, so there we go. We had odds. We had odds sometimes. You know what I'm saying? We had odds somehow, some way, right?
I grew up 15 minutes from Yankee Stadium, so I got to see all of that stuff when I was a kid. You know, those 90s and 2000s championships. So,
right. So what we're going to do right now is what we do after we just have our little introductions. I say I'm Mahli, he say he's Joe. And what we do after that is we always want to do this if we want to pay homage to the ancestors. But we got a little twist to it. We used to do just one ancestor and, expound on that person or what have you. But what I've learned as you pay attention and you think, oh, that works even better, is that we're going to have two ancestors, one represented by Joe and one represented by myself. All right. So Joe, give me the ancestor you want to pay homage to this week.
The ancestor I'm paying homage to this week is the Honorable Thurgood Marshall. Thurgood Marshall was an American lawyer and a civil rights activist who served as an Associate Justice of the Supreme Court of the United States from October 1967 until October of 1991. Thurgood Marshall was also the court's first African-American justice. He played an instrumental role in promoting racial equality during the civil rights movement. Important for a lot of cases, the Browns versus Board of Ed, which mainly focused on desegregating the schools, the public school system. So, he was just so important to where we are now in regards to us getting our education, and a fair education. So that's my ancestor I'm paying homage to this week.
That's an awesome pick right there. I mean, how can you go wrong with a Thurgood Marshall, right? Like really, right? So what I'm gonna do is I'm not gonna try to one up you at all because I can't one up nobody in this kind of situation. It is what it is. It's nothing but our ancestors, and it's nothing but greatness. Week after week, it's going to be nobody but just pure greatness, right? So what I'll do is I'll start off with a story. Is I played this gentleman in my elementary school play. We had a Black History play. I forget which year it was. It was in the 80s. So I'm aging myself a little bit there, right? So I played this gentleman, but as you can see, I got a lot. I got hair. I've always had hair. So what my mother did and what her creative self did is she blew out my hair. So that's what I should have had. I should have had that picture for you. Yeah, I didn't think of it. I should have had that picture for you. But I'll have that picture sometime in the near future. I will have that picture for you guys, right? But I'm sure you guys will love it, right? But I blew out the hair, had the part in the middle, and all of that. And I'm sure people can guess who it was because it's the blowout with the part in the middle, looking all young and strapping, had the little tie, little stringy tie and whatnot. And it was none other than the great honorable, the legend, the powerful Frederick Douglass. Yeah, I didn't do the gray part. I did the younger version. I didn't do all that gray.
It was all black.
Yeah. I had to split. Yeah, this is when he was looking like Moses. You know what I mean? He done did his job by then. You know what I mean? I played the younger version of Frederick Douglass. But Frederick Douglass was an American social reformer, abolitionist, orator, writer, and statesman. After escaping from slavery in Maryland, that's dope, all in itself. He had to escape from slavery, and then become one of the founding fathers to the civil rights movement. Like he is what the civil rights movement is all about. He is symbolic to what the civil rights movement is about because he escaped. He escaped from his situation and became better and became a better person for it, and that's crazy. He didn't allow his situation to dictate anything about his life. He became a national leader of the abolitionist movement in Massachusetts and New York, becoming famous for his oratory and incisive anti-slavery writings. One of the reasons we celebrate Black History Month in February is because of Frederick Douglass. Historian and educator Carter G. Woodson founded the precursor to Black History Month, Negro History Week, to coincide with the time of year when both Douglass and Abraham Lincoln celebrated their birthdays. Although Douglass was born into slavery and his actual birth date is unknown, which is crazy, he chose to commemorate his birthday on February 14th. So here's an example of someone who shaped his life, who shaped what his history, what his life was going to be. And that's the example in bringing him to the forefront is there's no, I mean, when you were born, you might have been born, you know, on the wrong side of the tracks, as they say. But that doesn't mean you have to stay there. Oh, snap. There it goes.
There it is. Wow.
Yo, okay.
You look like you leading some slaves to freedom right there, brother.
Oh, man. I have to take a toast to that one in a minute. But
wow.
That one threw me off, but it was a good one, though. It was a doozy.
Yeah. Well, I something. Frederick Douglass is one of the reasons why I acknowledge Juneteenth. When I was younger, I remember reading his speech about acknowledging July 4th as not being a holiday for African Americans. You know, during 1776, him being in Rochester and him telling the crowd that why are we acknowledging that? Because we weren't free during July 4th, 1776. So we need he said something along the terms of we need to celebrate when we were actually free. So research, hearing about Juneteenth is like, oh, well, that's my July 4th, you know, not Independence Day. So that's he's one of the reasons why I acknowledge Juneteenth.
Well, we're gonna look ahead as far as the Juneteenth. We're gonna look ahead as far as the Juneteenth situation. And we're gonna bring up the history of Juneteenth. So that's gonna be that topic at the time. All right. Yes, yeah. So we definitely going. I like that one. The Juneteenth. Yeah, we gotta do the Juneteenth episode. We definitely gotta do the Juneteenth episode. You know what I mean? But back to before I throw it off, back to what I was saying. You look at Frederick Douglass and he built himself from the muck and the mire. He built himself from the bottom up, you know, and he would not be denied. He was self-taught. He's self-educated. You know what I mean? And he fought hard. He fought for everything that he accomplished. Everything was a fight for it. You understand? So why wouldn't he be the example that someone would look, you know, set forth when it says, okay, if we're going to recognize any amount of time for Black history, why not him? You understand? So that's the reason why I went with the one and only Frederick Douglass. I mean, you know, that's just my take on that one. Although, like I said, that picture threw me off. That threw me off a little bit. I wasn't expecting that picture, but that was doing that play. It was actually empowering. Like you felt the vibes. You felt. You know, you felt the spirit. You felt like you were embodying these people. You know, because you had people that did Sojourner Truth. You had people that did Harriet Tubman. You had people that did I forget Carter G. Woodson. I mean, you had a plethora of and not to say that, you know, the mainstream civil rights leaders aren't, you know, important, but you didn't have, that's, you know, and this is in the 80s, you didn't have that aspect of it. It was like, you know, it was a little spread out, you know.
Well, these are more the foundations of, you know, of us finding our freedom. So that's why it's important when you bring up those characters, when you bring up those people, because these are the foundations. Because without them, we wouldn't have moved on to the next steps in our, you know, in our struggle, if you will.
So. Yes. So with that, I'm gonna give a shot to the ancestors.
Yes. Ashe. Ashe.
That's a shot to the ancestors. All right. But as we move on, what we're going to talk about is something that came up recently. Oh, I want to give a shout out to PS9 because PS9 really was they really gave me an idea. I've had many experiences in PS9 to where what I'm doing now, as far as the podcast, as far as my program is concerned, as far as my mentor program is concerned, as far as a lot of the things that I'm doing now, it was the root, the seed has been planted from PS9 public school, and I will give them their props. I will give them their flowers today. All right. But as we move on, current events. The most current event that's probably one of the most troublesome events. And I mean, it's people is going both ways with this one, and it's the marijuana being legalized in New York City. Now, it's been legalized in a lot of other states already. I mean, of course, New York don't care unless it affects New York. Am I right or wrong, Joe?
That's absolutely right.
Okay, so being that it's affecting New York now we care. So now it's a topic of conversation because it's not new. It's not like it's new, right?
No,
I mean, it's been going on, right? I mean, I went to Cali, I went to a lot of places, and I witnessed it for myself. Like, oh snap, you can go into a store and buy marijuana.
The dispensaries in California alone, I remember going there about 3 years ago when they first made it legal, and it was just like, really? We can do that? Yeah, no problem.
It's weird, but it's weird for me when you demonize. So now it's a PTSD kind of thing. It's a psychological thing because when you demonize something for so long, and then all of a sudden you tell me that it's cool to do, I don't feel so comfortable still doing. Like, wait, time out. I thought we was the bad guy for doing this. I thought we were, doomed to not succeed in life because we smoke marijuana. Like, you got to understand, I grew up smoking this herb. Like, I grew up doing it, and it bothers me to no end to know that I was looked upon as an outcast. I was looked upon as a no good. I was looked upon as a bum. I was looked upon as many. Listen, and these are things that was said as a criminal. I got arrested a few times because because of this, and it bothers me that all of a sudden, because they can capitalize off of this, that's my take.
Yeah. To say the least, that's more or less what it is. The marijuana industry is a $4.2 billion industry. And it's interesting now that because of the fact that New York is financially suffering, all of a sudden it's becoming legalized. It's like Big Brother. Like, well, let's see how we can make a profit. Any way they can make a profit, they're going to. So that's really what it's about. Like, should your records be expunged because now it's considered legal? Should those times that you got picked up, should they be expunged or, taken off your record now? You think about that. There's so many young men behind bars because of a little point, a piece of marijuana on them, but because it was considered
a dime bag. You accumulate arrest of a dime bag,
right?
All of a sudden, he has a felony,
right?
So the system was built. The system, to me, they built this way of just catching us because they knew that was our vibe. Especially when it came down to the hip hop industry. The hip hop industry showed us that, they smoke a lot of weed. Okay, you know what we're going to do? We're going to arrest them based off of weed. So if we can, I want to show the arrest numbers that they have, the differentials in the arrest numbers. So we got here numbers of blacks, Latinos, and whites arrested for marijuana possession in New York City in 2 decades. We got to the left, we got 1987 to 1996. Okay. You only had maybe about 35 to 40,000 people arrested for marijuana usage between that time. Then you go over to 1997 to 2006, and you have almost 350,000 people arrested for possession of marijuana. Okay. Now, in those numbers, you look at the numbers, you had 53,000 that were arrested that was white. You had 111,000 that was arrested that was Latino. And you had 185,000 that were black. So when you do the math, you understand what the agenda was. Because I believe that a lot of the criminalization of marijuana was agenda based.
Absolutely. And the numbers show it. Just to, if it was a true system, or if it was truly being, a true illegal crime, the numbers would be more balanced. Not 52% blacks or 31% Latinos.
So in a 10-year span, you're telling me we had 52% of the arrests based off of something that now they say is not a problem.
No, not at all. And here's an even better one for you. Now, NYPD just released a memo stating that they can no longer make stops if they have the smell of marijuana coming from a car.
Right. Now the funny part is that was the old stop and frisk.
That's right.
You understand? That was the old stop and frisk, because what it was is, okay, 9 times out of 10, you stop some black boys in a car. They've been smoking weed. So guess what? I smell weed. I therefore can search the car. And now here we go. We finding whatever you might find. Now, I'm not condoning if you found guns or if you found drugs or anything that, any of those things. I'm not condoning these things. But what I am saying is they always use certain little small things to make it a gateway and to get into our lives and to get into and to also put strikes on us. You know what I mean? Because even if they find nothing, they just take you down for the weed.
That's right. And that was more than enough. So now I want to see what the basis is now, because I would love to see these numbers over the next 5 years.
Hold on. Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. The numbers, But what I'm saying, the trickle down effect to it, right? When you break it down, is that okay? You get busted for a bag of weed, correct? Okay, boom. That's something light. You might think it's something light. All right, you're gonna go to court. I've been there. You go to court, they just, all right, boom, stay out of trouble, this, that, and the third. Let's say a kid don't go to court. Let's say a kid is irresponsible. Let's say a kid don't have the necessary guidance. Let's say a kid don't have the necessary parenting or the necessary people behind them to push them to make sure that they go to court. You understand? Then all of a sudden this kid has a warrant for his arrest. So now all of a sudden this kid gets picked up, and you understand? It's such a ebb and flow, and it's such a sad thing that and like I said, me personally, I don't like the fact that, I mean, I guess I don't know. I'm confused because
I'm not really confused, because I look at it this way, like what you were saying. If a kid was young and got picked up for a drug, marijuana possession, but didn't go to court to solve the case, and then later on down the line, let's say he hopped the turnstile, and they got to check to see if he got a record. Now that record of marijuana is going to always be there, so then they give you more reason to take you in, or they hold you on that too.
Right. So it's like like to me, you took too many lives away. Just, I mean, do I want and then there's a catch-22. It's like, do I want it? Am I bugging? Do I want it to be illegal? No, but I don't want you to sit here and capitalize off of something that you're not going to allow us to capitalize with you on. Like, that's my thing. My thing is, and that goes to a question, because we write down our questions during what's the government real motive? What's their real motive to legalizing marijuana? What's driving these states to adopt this policy, bro?
Listen, the pharmaceuticals office is about to be big brother when it comes to this. They're going to have complete control of the marijuana industry, and those who may have sold it, apothecary or anyone with help with wellness and health, they're going to be the victims of it. because of the fact that it's no longer it's become the norm now. So they're gonna, it's gonna be an upcharge on it now. So it's gonna be hard to make a profit anymore.
How when you're taxing it by 18%? Like at the end of the day, you're going to make more of a profit than the street hustlers, which we're going to get to them in a minute. Because I feel sorry. At the end of the day, listen, I don't care what you say. You got these people that has based their lives off of selling marijuana, and they got their clientele. They've been building their clientele for you to come and say, you know what, I'm gonna scoop this. Listen, not even in the streets that's tolerated. You understand? That's not even tolerated in the streets. So what happened to the war on drugs? Why? I guess America lost the war on drugs. Is that what we're saying here?
That's what it seems like. I got something else for you. This is from the governor's office. They predict tax revenues from legal weed sales can bring in over $350 million a year and add 60,000 jobs to the state when the industry is fully established.
Guess what? Brooklyn, black and brown boys been telling y'all that for years. That was bothering us. We did the same thing to bring revenue into our community. What's the difference when you're going to sit here and legalize a drug that you said was illegal, and you put families in danger, you put legacies in danger. You got men who ain't grow up with their fathers because of this.
Yep.
We're doing the same thing that you thought. You said you just following our blueprint, and that's what they always do, Joe. That's what they always do. They always follow our blueprint from rock and roll, blues, jazz, Elvis. They follow our blueprint, bro.
Well, I'm gonna be Moses, and I'm gonna pretend that the state is Pharaoh. Let my people go. You feel me? Let my people go. Let them go. Because the fact that now that it's considered legal, why are you holding them for? We need to start seeing these young kids, or no longer kids anymore, but we need to see the ones who had these marijuana charges. They need to be released now.
Bro,
period.
They could have been let them go. From the first state from the first time that y'all said that it was actually legal and no one was going to get arrested for it, it should have been a floodgate open of young men and old leaving jails. Why? Because somebody said it was legal. I don't care if all of a sudden all the 50 states ain't say it was legal. How does that matter? How does that matter when we're supposed to be under one law? How does it matter?
Now, let me ask you another question. Now, for those who, let's say, if you were incarcerated in New York for a marijuana charge, you try to go somewhere else to a state where it's not considered legal, where it's still illegal. Do they still bring up those charges there?
Say that one more time. I didn't catch that.
You're incarcerated in New York, and now since New York's made it officially legal, you get released from jail. You go to a state in the United States where it's still considered illegal. Does that still count on your record?
Bruh, listen, they've been opening up Pandora's box for the last, I say, 10 years, man. It's been so many things that they've legalized. There's so many things and I think it's just because the powers that be don't have control over themselves anymore, man. It's crazy because those are the questions that make you wonder about life, period, in itself. Like, okay, if we do this, then what happens with that? It's always cause and effect. You understand what I'm saying? So yeah, you know what I mean? But before we're going to come back after the break, right, to this topic, because I really want to take a little bit of time to talk about how does this affect the local dealers. I do want to speak on that, who take care of their families with marijuana sales. Like, how does this affect them right now? Because they wasn't getting 350 million in New York. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? They doing some math that we don't know about, you know what I mean? But that's also because of all the taxes they're going to put on it and the such, and. So I want to come back to that last question on the legalization of marijuana because that's important, man. Because it's always the little man that gets squashed out of these big deals. You feel me? So, words from our sponsor, the Evening Rush Network.
Looking to podcast shows and do not know where to start? The Evening Rush Network can help you with that. Call us at 929-441-2417 or email us at theeveningrushnetwork@gmail.com for dates and prices. We got you for all your podcast needs. The Evening Rush Network. Tune in, subscribe, and share.
We're back. We're driven by the Evening Rush Network. Like, Evening Rush Network is driving this show, you know what I mean? And I believe it's going to drive it to heights that that I don't think I'm really ready to expect, but I'm gonna be here for it. I'm be here for the ride. I know Joe and I have a lot of content that we're going, I don't think we even scratched the surface. I think we're going to revisit a few things. Oh, also, remember, hold on, it's this way. We're sponsored by Baller. You know what I mean? That's the squad right there. Remember when you see that Apple, what that means? You know what I mean? Apple, sponsored by Baller. Here we go. Y'all see it on the screen. Baller.org, BALLAA.org. All right. If you want to check us out, see what Baller is about. Not-for-profit organization that's for the youth and all that other good stuff, man. Trust me, there's a lot of other good stuff, man. So back to legalization of marijuana real quick before we head to our next to our final topic of the day. How does the legalization of marijuana affect the local marijuana dealer? Joe?
How I think it affects the local dealer, I think either they're going to have to make their business legit. You would think this would be an opportunity for a local dealer to become a legitimate business, not having to hide, not having to do all this stuff in the dark. If I was a local dealer that sold marijuana, I would take this opportunity to go to New York City business bureau and form a business where I sell marijuana. The experience that I have is my business. So, I mean, it's not rocket science, but at the same time, you just have to look at the numbers of what the state is doing in regards to how they're selling it, how much it's going to be. You got to pay attention to these things because these will affect your regular sales. I mean, just continue to match what the state is doing until you can't, legalize it. It's a legal business now. So for those who sell illegal or sold illegally, this is a legit business now. So they can become a business person. So that's how I look at it. It's an opportunity. A door just opened up. So let's see how much they can take advantage of it.
Yeah. What are the terms? Like, what are the terms of this legalization right now? Like, let me see, because I've seen some things, and I'll speak to it. Let me can we throw the pick up, please? The Cuomo and the New Jersey, yeah. All right, so we got ages 21 and over can use recreational marijuana now. I don't get what the hell is the difference between recreational marijuana and any other marijuana, because it's more recreational to me. Medicinal, they could play games. They was playing semantics with us for a long time.
Absolutely.
The possessions is up. The possessions is up to 3 ounces, meaning you can have up to 3 ounces worth of marijuana, which is a hell of a lot for just one person to have, just for their personal use anyway. But so, what are you saying, really? All right, it's legal to smoke where tobacco smoking is permitted. I mean, I didn't know it wasn't, but I guess now it's legal. I didn't know it wasn't legal to smoke where tobacco smoking is permitted, but I guess. This is the one I like, though. I ain't gonna lie. You can grow at home in the coming months. So you could grow some few plants or what have you. and purchasing possible once the marketplace is open in 18 months, 2 years. So you could purchase from their dispensaries. You could throw that down. My problem here is that everybody has, everybody in life has been chasing that next high. You understand? The next elevated high and such. And you're not going to get that on the streets as much as you're going to get that in the dispensaries. So when you think about the dispensaries with the glitz and the glamour and the marketing and the such, the dispensaries is going to win. So I feel for the local dealers. I don't think they can transition into the legal stage as better than those who does this, because they're putting millions and millions of dollars behind marketing. They're putting millions and millions of dollars behind production. They're putting millions and millions of dollars behind everything that is to be their strand or their bud. For it to be, listen, if they wanted to have you high for a half hour and it's over in a half hour, they will have that done for you. You understand? And listen, and just for status statements and just to be seen or what have you, guess what? People will buy it publicly. Let's be like, look, I got the comatose. I got the comatose strand. You go to sleep for a day and don't wake up for 2 days.
Well, look, I want to relate to this. I went to Canada about maybe 3 years ago, where marijuana has been legal for years. And it's just out in the open, like it's promoted. I can see that with today's technology, social media, with the young minds of today, how creative they are. I could see somebody who just sold it on the side, maybe not big time, but they can make it a business project, or they could turn it to a legitimate business. I can personally see that happening, because I think that's really what they want, to see how they're going to turn what was considered a bad thing into a good thing. And then the promotion comes from that, to see how many people are able to change it up. And that's what I'm looking forward to seeing, because I want to see how it's going to be promoted, how it's going to be produced, how it's going to be shown. Because I personally think, just for someone who has a creative mindset, it's not hard to do. If you find people who are interested in doing it, or people who have a mindset, is a degree going to be required for plants? These type of things. So
that's what I said. That's why I said time out. You know why? Because that means to be continued. We need to see what they're going to do with this, because we can talk about this a long time, because it's a weird situation, but I guess we got to roll with it, right?
That's right.
So let's go to our topic of the day. And our topic of the day is Black love and relationships. We're going to try to define Black love, if there's a such thing as Black love. And I believe that to be true. I believe there is a such thing as Black love, because I believe there's a way that Black people have to show love that's different than most other nations or what have you. Like, we do it a different way, per se. But I have a question for you, Joe. Is Black love shown differently than other races?
Absolutely, Black is shown differently. I think the Black love is in the struggle. Because of the fact that we go through so much as a people, love is shown within our energy, within our strength, within our struggle. That's where the love comes from, to be honest with you. Now, growing up, I'll give you a perfect example. A father shows his love stronger, a Black father specifically show his love stronger than a white father would. Maybe because of what he's going through outside of the home, or, in public. But then when he's private, he shows it, he shows it differently. I remember a joke that Chris Rock said back in the day about how you showed Black man love by giving him the big piece of chicken.
Big piece of chicken, baby.
You know what I mean? That's really all you had to do was show him that. That was how you showed him love, giving him the big piece of chicken.
And how simple is that? How simple is that, bro?
That's it.
That's
you
it.
show love. You show him what his status is. You show him his strength. You show him he means something. He's important. You know what I mean? You also got even growing up, if you were to ask a black male father if you loved him, he would say something like, "Well, you got lights, right? You can read, right? You got a roof on your head, right?"
I've heard.
That's how they showed love. You know, it wasn't a hug, or it wasn't something that was it wasn't love. It wasn't something that was shown like affectionately, but you knew that they loved you. You knew that love existed because of the things that they did for you, not necessarily what they said.
And I speak to the same thing because I consider my father my hero in a sense. Was he necessarily, the best father there could be? Some people might say no, but guess what? He was the best father I had, and guess what? That's what everybody should understand. You have the best of what you got. Period. Trust me. You have the best of what you got. Don't sit there and be yearning and wanting other things and other lives and other lifestyles and the such. Nah, be who you are. Period. Right. So when it came down to my father, his way of showing black love wasn't necessarily to show black love. It was actually to show toughness. It was like his way was to show that this life was real. Like, yo, listen, the world ain't going to be easy on you, man. That's right. The world ain't going to be easy on you. It's not going to, it's not going to take no shorts on you, man. So therefore, what you smiling for? You know what I'm saying? For like, what we hugging about? You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? So, in many ways, yes, for someone who said that, yes, I do equate the lack of love and strength, because I think sometimes I don't say, I'm not saying that I didn't need it. I didn't need more love. I did. But when you look at where we were raised, Brooklyn, New York, Harlem, New York, listen, we had to be stronger. We had to be stronger, man. We had to be stronger, man. I appreciate the love I got from growing up, man, and that tough love and that strong love and that what we might deem black love in that time. Right now, I think it's different. Right now, I think black love has evolved into a softer space. I don't know if you agree, Joe.
I do. I have a definition for you. Black love, as defined by Urban Dictionary, a spiritual journey that only people who are rich in melanin can experience. A love that is unconditional, a love that can build an empire. Magnanimous and genuine in intent. This love cannot be stopped.
Unconditional and the kind of love that builds empires. Black love has built black love built what we got around us right now.
That's right.
In America. Because we loved our children and we wanted to do better for them. So we worked harder. We fought harder. I'm telling you, man. Y'all don't understand, man. This is where y'all need to be at. I'm telling y'all. Listen, it gets deeper and deeper. The rabbit hole goes deep, man. I gotta bring back my emotions because it gets a little out there.
I'm about to go into devil's advocate just for a little bit. What role does forgiveness play in the survival of black love? We've seen a lot of instances lately in relationships where whether it's been cheating, whether it's been someone being unfaithful, or just
you talking about my boy and Cardi B, and Saweetie. Because you're saying the name wrong all week. Just by the way, just to let you know. You was call her salty, all kinds of stuff, man.
That's what it looked like to me. I was like, salty.
Yo, bro, that's how I know you don't be on it like that. You was like, so who? Or like sweetie, I guess. I don't know.
Right.
Listen,
I thought every syllable counted.
whatever, man. You know what I mean? And I believe forgiveness plays a big role in Black love because we are so piled up behind the 8 ball, brother. Like we are so caught up in such a psychological conundrum that we have to be able to forgive one another because there's no way that we could sit here and understand and say that we sanely made these decisions sometimes. You know what I mean? Like it was nothing that went along why you did what you did. You understand what I'm saying? So I believe forgiveness plays a big part. You know what I mean? Because when you look at like a Bill Cosby and his wife stood there with him. You understand what I'm saying? He was in trouble. He was going through it or whatever, this, that, and the third. And she stood there with him. You know what I mean?
Still with him.
Still with him. You look at Will Smith and Jada. You understand what I'm saying? You didn't hear about a divorce or anything. That woman said straight up and down she was in an entanglement with this young dude over here. You know what I mean?
Trying to figure out what that is, but
you still
entanglement. I don't know the actual definition for that, but like you said, they've admitted infidelity.
But those are the roles forgiveness plays in Black love because we are like we are shown so many different things that dictates what love is or dictate what happiness is. That we fall to the wayside all the time because they're always putting stuff in our head.
Yes,
you understand? They always putting stuff in our head and basically trying to brainwash us into a lot of negativity. So therefore, of course, forgiveness is a part of Black love, man. That's what my thing.
Well, what do you think are some couples, some examples of Black love, if you will, that you've seen now, that you can see as far as celebrities go, or what are some prime examples that you've seen of Black love?
Barack Obama and Michelle Obama, man. Like, listen, if we could paint it, and put it in a bottle and bottle it up and say here, and I think a lot of us would follow that blueprint. I don't think it's a blueprint that deviates from what we want to do, man. I mean, bro, I'm tired of the narrative that black Black families and Black relationships, Black love have. So when it comes down to it, that's one of the main ones that's my top one. You know what I mean? I like Jay-Z and Beyonce though. I ain't even gonna lie. They good. They good at what they do, man. I mean, listen, I wasn't necessarily a fan of Jay in his, I say 10 years ago career, but in the last 10 years, he's grown on me because he became who I thought he would become. You know what I mean?
You talk about building an empire. That's the prime example of an empire with Jay-Z and Beyonce. You may not like them you may not like them personally, but what they've done professionally is amazing, and what they're still doing.
So now talking about Jay-Z and Beyonce, should public image or opinions matter? Because they are in the limelight. You understand what I'm saying? And they are commented on, and people have plenty of opinions on them. So should the limelight, should public image, should opinion matter to what you have going on at home?
It shouldn't matter, and I'm going to tell you why it shouldn't matter. And
then I want you to tell me why it does matter, because that's the flip side to that.
Well, the reason why I think it doesn't matter is because of what happens in your home, the public doesn't know about unless you let them in. So the way that you are in public could be the way that you are at home. It's what people's perception of you. It doesn't necessarily mean that's what's really happening.
Correct.
And in most relationships, is what people are coming up with their own ideas and their own thoughts of what it looks like. But that's just how you are. Like, It's almost sacrilegious sometimes when people talk about how marriage isn't asked for, relationships, how they don't seem real to you. But that's because you're not in them.
Right.
Yours.
Because trust me, when you in one, it's real.
Right. It's not your relationship. So you can't
It's
judge
real.
somebody else's relationship based on your thought. If that's what it is, that's what it is. Now you'll be able to know if something is wrong, because if they're expressing it, if it's wrong, but if they're showing true affection to each other and that's how they are all the time, who are you to say that they're putting on a front or putting on a mirage because you're looking at them? Now, that's one of the reasons why it should matter. Now, the reason why the public image and opinion should matter is because of who's watching. Now, if you are around young people who had been scarred by relationships or looking to be in one, the way that you act in a relationship would either give them hope or deter them from being in a relationship.
Okay.
So it all depends on the way you present yourself in a relationship. That's what makes the most sense to me. That's why public image and opinions do matter.
Listen, the thing with me, as far as public image, I could care less about public image, but then I have to care less about public image. So that's where it's like it's the catch-22. It's the balance. Whereas we have to be aware that people are watching at all times, and then we also have to be aware that we have to still be who we are as people, as men, as women, as a relationship, as a couple, as a family, as a unit, as a company, because I consider a family like a company, like a Fortune 500 company. Listen, Black family should be ran like a Fortune 500 company. If y'all take anything from today, okay, all right, we should be running this like a business. You understand? But when it comes down to the love and family and the black love and family and relationships, it has to be something that people understand and scream on loud. You understand what I'm saying? It's not something that you sit there and you try to mute or you try to coddle. Nah, we got to make sure that people know it everywhere. People understand it everywhere. That's the reason why, listen, the wedding I had, grand as it was, or what have you, I want people to understand that's what Black love is all about. When I see you in my, full disclosure, my sister, you know what I mean? That's what Black love is all about. You understand what I'm saying? I'm rooting for that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? When I see Dawn, you know what I mean? Sean Dawn, and you know what I mean? I'm rooting for that kind of stuff. I'm rooting for Black love. You know what I'm saying? We have so much negativity going up against us that why wouldn't we, you know what I mean, have more admiration for the love we have. You know what I'm saying? For the love we got for one another. You know what I mean? So let's we got one last question before we start bailing out of here, brother. And my last question to you is, what can we do to protect the value of Black love?
That's very interesting. So I was reading something in regards to South Carolina University. South Carolina had an article talking about where's the love, portrayal of African-American romantic relationships in the media. And these were some characteristics that he said should be determined on Black love. Honesty and accountability. Characters accept responsibility for themselves. They do not make excuses for their partners or for their own actions. Open communication. You express your feelings and opinions. You say what you mean, because communication is based on clarifying issues, specifically feelings, and working together for a mutual satisfying solution. Negotiation and fairness. Shared responsibility. Respect each other. trust and support each other.
That's synonymous with compromise, no?
Compromise. Intimacy is very important, because if you don't have a connection intimately, the relationship usually falls downhill from there, because you look for somewhere else to get that intimacy from.
Correct.
Physical affection is another one. You have to show that affection towards each other. Holding hands, hug, kiss, all those type of things mean something in a relationship. That's how we show ourselves. There's physical relationships, there's emotional relationships, there's there's so many ways to show yourself in a communication process. But those are some of the characteristics in regards to a Black love in a relationship. And these are some things that we should be looking at if we're in relationships or if we're looking to be in one.
I say totally that that what we need to understand is we have to avoid comparing ourselves to others when we're in love or when we're in a relationship. And that's one of the downfalls to a lot of relationships, is the comparisons. When you play the comparison game, no one will ever measure up. I'm gonna tell you why no one will ever measure up. Because they're not the other person.
Right.
It will never work. It will never happen. If you're looking to compare someone to the next person, I can guarantee you're working on failure every time. You understand? So what you have to do is understand the love you have. You have to understand the love that you were blessed with, because it is not, trust me, there's people outside of this your space, your time, your life, that don't have no love being shared to them. Am I lying, Joe?
You're absolutely right. No love. They don't know what it feels like. So when they react in certain ways, you're like, well, have they ever been loved in their life? No, because of the way that they're acting. But a lot of it, unfortunately, is not because of them not receiving love. It's just that's where they grew up. That's how they were raised. So, but I tell you what, though, I have seen situations where people experience love for the first time and they totally do a 180 on the way they were. And that goes to show you how important love is to be in your life. That's why love is needed and is necessary.
And love is one of the most compromising feelings there is, because if you are in love, you are going to adjust. You're going to go with the ebbs. You're going to go with the flows, because what? You find that person that important. Love is about importance. How important is that person in your life? Are you willing to just go through a brick wall for them? Are you willing to take a bullet for them? Are you willing to do all of these things? What are you willing to do for that person? And people try to sit there and say, oh, we don't have an understanding of what love really is. You really do. You really do, because the people that give it out freely don't understand it. But the ones that understand what love is about, listen, it's about sacrifice.
That's right. They're not just going to share it with everybody. They're going to only let those who deserve it in.
Right.
You know what love really is. I'll tell you that.
Right. And I've been blessed to experience it. I've been blessed to have, and I believe I've given it out. You understand? I believe I've given it out fully, and I'm gonna continue to do so. I'm gonna continue to be one who be an example of what love is. I'd rather be that than any other type of negative emotion that you could think of. I mean, I don't know what your thought on that is, Joe.
Love is the overall exception to the rule. Like you said earlier, when you give true and pure love to somebody, nothing beats that. No other feeling beats that. No. And people know when it's real and when it's not.
Right.
You'll see the person's energy change. You'll see their attitude change. You'll see their lifestyle change. But because of the love that they're given.
Yes.
It's that serious.
Yes, that's serious. And I mean, Dag, I looking at the time flies. I mean, but that goes into our next venture, whereas you're going to see us for a little longer sooner or later. It might be an hour and a half, might be 2 hours. That's and right. I believe we're ready for it, Joe. I believe we got what we need to do this. You know what I'm saying? I mean, so far, I'm appreciative of you, bro, to be honest with you. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to give you your flowers right here, right now. You know what I mean? Last week, I couldn't make it, and you stepped in and you did your thing, man. I couldn't actually, listen, that was the reason why people don't understand. That was the reason why I pulled you into this situation, is because I'm like, yo, this dude is a walking, you know what I mean, a walking thesaurus. I mean, a walking encyclopedia. Like, yo, got it all. You know what I'm saying? So,
well, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Good conversation. It works well. It works well with each other. We work well with each other, and that's really all it is. It's just us shooting the breeze.
I want everybody to understand we got a set coming up from my sister. All right. And that's Ash and Mir. That's the name, right? That's the name, right, Joe?
Ash and Mir.
Ash and Mir, you know, by Dara Mauzi. She's gonna do our set design as we head to the studio, bro.
Listen, I can't wait. I can't wait. I've been giving ideas. I've been just giving ideas like, add it to it. Like, and you'll see.
Yeah, I'm excited.
They'll be like, oh, it's me. It's definitely me.
Yeah, we're gonna hit the studio soon. You know what I mean? We're gonna hit up the studio and we're gonna have, listen, they don't even understand. We got people lined up for interviews. Lined up. All right. So with that said, I mean, I thank you, Joe, for being on this journey with me, man. I thank our producers in the background.
Yes.
I thank my family. I thank my wife. I thank everybody that's you know, been a plug, you know, plugged into me to allow me to be, you know, plugged into you guys, you know.
Seriously, like there's so much we could think, but it's only a matter of time. The best is yet to come, brother.
Yes, sir. Later.
Peace.
They don't want us to wrap up yet.
You don't want us to wrap up.
Hold on.